I've run into a little bit of a problem here, and this is Bosch Jigsaw I've owned for well over 20 years. I used it for a number of years in a professional wooden boat shop in Cape Cod. Moved here to Maine and this helped to build our home. My wife and I built the home ourselves 18 years ago here in Maine, Downeast, Maine. And then all these years at farm and homestead use, building a few boats, it finally gave up the ghost. The motor's still fine, it'll operate fine, but there's a little bit of a roller that goes here, and I'll show a close-up of it, and it helps back up the plunger. It gives the plunger a little bit of support so that when you're pushing the blade forward it doesn't get bent or get worn out prematurely, and you get more accurate cuts. Well, the little shaft, the clip came off, shaft came out, little roller took off somewhere, don't know where it is. Now this happened a couple of years ago, and I just didn't have the time to go searching for parts. I haven't done it yet. But I'll have to see if I can find parts, because this is a very good tool, and I like it. But in the meantime, to replace it, I bought this Ryobi. Now I have a lot of Ryobi tools, and I would have preferred to buy the battery operated cordless one, but this plug-in type is a bit more powerful, more robust, and that's why I bought it, because that's what I needed at the time. And the exact same thing has happened, and this has seen very little use. The same thing, little guide, little shaft, clip came off, little roller, it's the exact same thing. Popped off, took off somewhere, and now I can't use this. And this is still fairly new, because even though it's a couple of years, I've had it, for a little while, it's seen very little use at all. So, well, I try to find parts for that in the Bosch. Yesterday, I went and bought this cheap, cheesy Harbor Freight thing to get me by. 26 bucks. We'll see what we got in there. Okay. Right from China. And it too has a similar setup, the same type of little roller and shaft and clip, but at least this one's new, so nothing's happened to it yet. And I want this, I'm hoping this will last long enough to get me by until I can find parts for the two others. That's the perplexing problem. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a close-up of the other two so you can see what's actually broken on them. Okay, here, I only have two hands and I got to hold the camera with one. On this one, I don't know if the camera's going to show it or not, but there should have been a little roller right where the tip of my finger is, and now that's missing. And here's the same thing. Here is the Ryobi, and you might see it because the blade's still in it. You see that little bracket where the tip of my finger is, and there was a roller that went in there to help support the blade. And now here's the new one. You can actually see the roller. It's the exact same type of deal. This is the roller right here, and that's what should be on the other two. So that's what I'm trying to find in terms of parts. The roller, the shaft, the little clips that hold it in place. So here's the new Harbor Freight version. See if that works. Got a little piece of scrap here. Pretty noisy, kind of clunky, but it works. I hope this will stand up and last until I get the other ones back online. Now, I'm not sponsored by anybody. The Bosch is the most expensive of the three, but it's a professional tool, and you would expect to pay more for a professional tool. It went over 20 years before the thing broke. This only went a couple of years before it broke, but Ryobi's not really a professional tool. It's more of a homeowner tool. it's not at the same grade or level of quality as a professional tool. However, they are quite a bit less expensive, about maybe half the price of the Bosch. This cheapo Harbor Freight is about a third the cost of the Ryobi. So, you know, you get what you pay for. I think this should have stood up longer though, because I own a lot of Ryobi tools and they've all stood the test of time so far. I haven't had any problems with any of them, except the earliest, I think one of the very first Ryobi tools I bought was a combination drill and impact driver. You could use it for, you know, if you're drilling into masonry or concrete. Bought that many years ago, and that's the old, when they were dark blue. They weren't these bright light green ones. And it still works, but the problem now is that the brushes are worn on it, and I just have to replace the brushes, but otherwise it'll still be fine. All my other Ryobi tools work just fine. Some of them might be getting a little bit tired, the older ones that are dark blue, which are about almost 20 years old now. So they've been standing up pretty well. I don't have any complaints. But I think this one should have lasted a lot longer than it did, considering even though it was bought a couple of years ago, it had very little use on it. So I'm kind of disappointed in that regard. I'll let you know how all this works out. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe and, you know, all that good stuff.